All right, starting it
The
up.
best part is my voice is so much better than Monday.
Yeah, that's true. I don't know, you argued pretty good Monday. Okay.
Yeah. Oh, don't worry. I was in a talking mood.
Oh. Hey, everybody, and welcome to a slightly different video, probably a series of videos. We're going over the new Unearthed Arcana Player's Handbook playtest, the 1D&D stuff, where they're doing like the new versions of the classes that are going to be in the new book, new Player's Handbook. I'm joined by most of my players. You can see their speech bubbles on the right-hand side of the screen.
Howdy.
Yeah, I thought it'd be neat. I suppose... Fuck, I think I'm gonna have to read everything out loud, aren't I? Fuck.
I mean...
Yeah, because otherwise it's like we silently read for a couple of minutes and then react out loud. Alright.
I guess, but you don't have to read, like this first page you can basically skip,
I'll start at the what's new section. What's new? Weapons. New options for weapons appear here for you to try out. Spells. More spells are ready for playtesting. Feats. Several epic boon feats in the Weapon Master feat appear here for your feedback. Weapon Master feat. 5 classes are ready for playtesting. The Barbarian, Fighter, Sorcerer, Warlock, and Wizard. Each of those classes includes a subclass. The Monk will appear in a future UA, along with revised versions of other classes. Okay, poor Monk. The rules glossary has been updated again. And there's some text about the power level being not final. Hold up, there's a weapon section that seems relevant.
Yeah, the weapon section's where we should start, probably.
Yeah. I'm excited. I thought they were going to have the Monk in this PDF.
Apparently needs cooking.
Yeah.
Put it back in the oven.
I don't
The
know. I
monk
feel like
really
the monk is going to be like the hardest one to...
Yeah.
Really is
the
the
one that needs the
red-headed
most
stepchild
changes.
of D&D.
Yeah.
How can we make the Monk even weaker?
You actually have a D6 that die now. Sorry.
Oh, Nathaniel, after reading it, green light for Kyle.
Woo!
Hell yes. Okay, stop scrolling, por favor.
Okay.
Alright. Weapons. This section contains playtest versions, the Weapons Player's Handbook. I remember hearing about the changes when I was hearing about the old like D&D conference with all the influencers.
Wait, Torb, I've got a question.
Yeah?
I know we're recording, but I might just be able to send you the link for this.
Yeah,
Okay,
you did. I haven't pulled up.
It's
on my
too
browser,
late.
just so I don't have to
No,
look
it's
at
not too late.
I don't want to... You're already doing this. It's too late to change.
Not too late.
Okay. So, weapon updates. Man, you completely derailed my thought.
Yeah.
The fuck?
Because for easier video making,
So
Experience.
it seems that basically every weapon has a mastery property, and like certain classes, in addition to proficiency, get a mastery in weapons.
Yeah.
And then you unlock like the mastery property of it.
Yeah.
So like fighters' whole thing is that they get like the most masteries, and they can swap what ability a weapon gets that it normally doesn't get and stuff like that. So it just unlocks so it's just a way to make all the weapons feel unique, which they did a shit job at in the original.
Yeah. That is basically what I heard.
stick with
So
number.
now it goes into the weapon tables, which are right
Yeah,
on the
I'll
next
get
page,
it.
but
I'm not done. Keep scrolling up.
This is fun.
Look, scroll when I tell you to, monkey. Let's see. The Trident's damage die has changed from a D6 to a D8 and is D10. Okay. That's whatever. Tridents are lame. I don't know why anyone would want to use Trident. Guess,
If
like-
you're a very specific, like the gladiator.
If you're going underwater,
That too.
I'm
you
a
don't
sea
have
elf.
disadvantage.
I poke people with the Trident.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure a spear doesn't have disadvantage underwater.
Yes.
I'm pretty sure you're right. So it doesn't even matter.
Right? The lance is...
maybe now it will. Maybe they fixed it.
Wasn't there that like
of course not.
kind of famous like gladiator fighting thing where they had like a trident and like a fucking?
Yeah, gladiators use mean weapons. Okay.
Well, yeah, that's the point. But I'm still saying.
Okay. The lance has the heavy and two-handed properties rather than the special property, and it's now a D10 weapon. Interesting. That's kind of weird, because isn't there the pike already?
Yeah.
Which is also a heavy. Well, but the pike is reach. The lance isn't, is it?
That makes
No,
it
it
worse.
Heavy reach two-handed,
Yeah.
and then pike is heavy reach two-handed.
Okay.
Oh, it's
They
the
probably have
lance is
different
two-handed
mastery
unless
abilities.
mounted. But they have two different masteries, so I guess that matters. Maybe.
No, they removed the special property, so it's still two-handed. Or it's only two-handed, I think. Alright, the musket and pistol, which previously appeared in DMG, now appear as martial weapons. I don't know about that change. That heavy implies that muskets are just available for everyone to buy.
It says
Well,
the DM oversees
not-
what is available.
Yeah,
for
unless they
shots.
aren't available in your world. Yeah.
Yeah, but
I guess the main problem I have is like if you're a fighter, then like even if like a musket is like a rare thing and you finally get one, you just automatically have proficiency in it, even if you
Yeah, that
like,
is kinda
never
weird.
used guns in your life. If you were like born in a village that didn't have access to them, so that's kind of weird. But that's an easy thing to just kind of rule depending on the universe you're in.
yeah, just call it an exotic weapon.
Oh, it even says the DM oversees what is available for purchase.
Yeah, but there's a difference, okay? There's a difference between it like being squirreled away in the DMG and like it being on the list of weapons. That's a lot of pressure for a DM to be like, oh no, you can't, there's no guns. Because they're just going to point at the PHB and say, well, looky here, it says
And then
there's
you can
guns.
point at this little blurb right here.
That's not going to be in the PHB.
Yeah, it is.
But you can also just say no, and then like, what are they gonna do about it? you know?
Yeah. I know, I'm just saying.
Piss and cry and piss and ass.
Yeah,
exactly.
either man.
That's just a point of conflict that's going to show up at so many fucking tables in the future when if it's in the PHP.
Yeah, well,
Fair enough.
All right.
piss baby tables.
Light property now appears in the weapon properties rather than glossary. That makes sense to me. And thrown property now allows you to draw a weapon as part of the range attack. Why was
That
this
makes sense.
not always
Yeah, why
in the
was that
game?
not-
Dude, I didn't even know that wasn't a rule.
Yeah, because everyone would
Here's the
hand.
thing. I think everyone has always just hand waved that. Yeah,
Because it's
used.
always been like, well, yeah, like what are you supposed to do? Sit there with your dagger out, being like, oh, I'm gonna get you, and then like, ooh.
Yeah,
Well,
you
then
can
it's also
only
like-
throw one weapon.
Yeah, if you're a fighter throwing javelins, it's like, oh, your extra attack is useless because you have to draw it first, and you can't.
Yeah, that's stupid.
Yeah, that's a good change.
All right, now we can scroll a little bit.
All right.
We can already see the mastery thing. There's slow,
I don't know, I mean,
nick, push, vex, sap, flex. Some of these I'm not sure what the fuck they could do.
That's why
Graze.
we're gonna keep scrolling down.
Oh, it's a good idea.
This is where they have them all. So yeah, weapon. Here's the light and thrown. It's the same shit. Yeah.
You take the attack action on your turn and attack with a light weapon. You can make one extra attack as a bonus action later on the same turn. That's new.
Oh,
That
cool.
extra attack must be made with a different light weapon, and you don't add your ability. Okay, so that's just two weapon fighting, basically.
Yeah, it's just the same as
bundled
before,
into light.
Yeah.
which makes sense to me.
If you take the attack action on your turn, have a short sword and one-handed dagger. Okay.
You make one attack action with each weapon using your action and a bonus action.
Wait, does that mean you can't have like two short swords?
You
Does
can
the
make
short
an extra-
sword have
the
light
action
weapon?
must be made with a different light weapon.
Yeah. No, you could. Well, yeah, but they
You
would
could
just
have
be have
two
to be
short
two
swords. It
short.
would be a different short
Okay,
sword. Yeah.
that makes sense.
They're just using the short sword dagger as the example.
Why would
Because there's a
anyone
character in
ever
the-
do that?
Well, yeah, that's the thing. Is like that's just subjectively worse than two short swords. But there's a
Yeah.
character in the Dritz novels that uses a short sword and a dagger as like his weapon style. So that's
okay.
probably why they use that as.
Must be a
example.
really magical dagger.
It's cool and it's sort of based off a real thing because there was that samurai that fought with a katana and a wakizashi. And
Yeah.
that was like a real fighting style. So, but it's not represented in D&D because it just sucks.
Oh, in second edition there was this very specific fighting style where it was like rapier plus hand dagger, and you get like a free block with the dagger every turn, which is pretty cool.
I feel like you could rework that like feat where when you're dual wielding you get +1 to AC, but like specify that one of those weapons has to be like a dagger or some sort of shitty weapon.
Yeah, it makes sense to me.
I think that would be a cool way to do it.
All right. The thrown property looks like it's exactly the same. You throw a weapon. If it's a strength thrown weapon, then strength, etc., etc.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
I like the idea of throwing a dagger with strength. That's wacky.
I mean, you should be able to choose, right? I think it's the same thing as that.
Yeah, because it's finesse. You just
so you
it
can't
says
just
it's,
throw a dagger with strength.
it says so right there. Yeah.
Well, the part I'm
Well, it's
taking issue with is throwing the dagger with strength, not throwing it
Well,
with
have you seen John Wick 3?
I have not. Does he
Well, in
throw
the
daggers with
beginning-
strength?
I think he does, because there's a part where he's getting chased by like dudes trying to kill him, and they run into like a antique like museum type place, and they start breaking glass cases and just grabbing these like antique like old daggers and just chucking them at each other. And they're very much not the like ninja finesse throwing. They're just grabbing the handles and then they're just chucking them with all their force, and they're not even spinning. They're just going
Okay.
straight into them. And
Yeah,
that
that
looks
makes
like
sense to me.
strength throwing to me.
Yeah, sure. Now the mastery properties section. Each weapon has mastery property. We've seen that above. That property is usable only by a character who has a feature such as weapon mastery that unlocks the property for the character. Here are the descriptions of each of them. They're provided in alphabetical order. If a game feature lets you replace a weapon's mastery property with another one, that weapon must meet any prerequisites specified for the new property. Okay.
Okay, so you can't just, because fighter gets an ability to switch them, but you can't just put any ability on any weapon.
Yeah,
'Cause
which
I
is why
imagine
they
some
have
just doesn't make sense. Yeah.
the prerequisites.
Yeah, like you can't put flex on a non-versatile weapon.
Yep. Okay, so cleave. If you hit a creature with a melee attack using this weapon, you can make an attack roll with the weapon against second creature within 5 feet of first. That's also within your reach. On a hit, it takes the weapon's damage, but no ability modifier to the damage, unless the modifier is negative.
negative.
You can only do this once per turn. So
Okay,
if you have,
that's cool.
that
so that's like
sounds
what,
really
axes and stuff?
powerful. Yeah, can we scroll up?
Yeah, halberd.
Let's see. So Great Axe has cleave. Does Greatsword have cleaves? No, it has
Great,
graze.
Greatsword has graze, yeah.
But the halberd has cleave, which makes no sense to me.
Well, because it's like an axe.
Halberd's kind of an
thing.
axe with.
Halberds go
It's
downwards.
also
Okay.
it's also they also go, like, if you look at how they're
Swing
used
side
in,
to
like,
side with the
in-
halberd and hit people.
They have very sweeping motion.
I'm glad they're like setting precedents for this to be in the game, because cleave is one of those things that I always thought that like giant stat blocks should have. And
Yeah.
I've even like come up with like versions of homebrew where like giants can cleave and hit multiple people because they're big. So I'm glad that there's like a already codified rule that I can like use as opposed to like coming up with my own.
Yeah. I think I have
Although I might let
a.
a giant add his ability modifier.
Yeah, you remember the boss fight you guys had where there was the sword and just auto targeted people? Like it target up to 3 creatures within 5 feet of each other. That's how I did that rule for giants. I think I'm just putting this into the void. I think giants should use touch attacks if they're big enough. I think that makes more sense than attack rolls. Like if they hit, they hit. Otherwise, they miss. You know. Obviously, they'd need like to have a penalty to hit to compensate a little bit. I think that makes more sense. Let's see.
This seems pretty good.
Yeah, it's really
I mean,
good. You get a free D12 on someone else, right? If
Yeah.
you're like gain maxing with Great Axe.
Yeah. I think that they're positioning it so that probably all martial classes will get this. Because I know the barbarian does.
I guarantee you, the
weapon
monk
mastery?
will not.
Yeah.
No, there's no way monks don't get weapon mastery.
Yeah, there's no fucking way.
They're gonna get unarmed mastery. They're gonna do 1 more point of damage with unarmed attacks, but they're gonna lower the die to compensate.
The D2
Yeah.
can't go any lower than the D4.
Okay.
No, they do
Flex.
start with a D4, don't they? Jesus.
Yeah, it's so lame. Meanwhile, the
For 4
fighter can start with the
levels, too.
D6, which is absolutely dumb. So
Fighters
flex.
can't.
Fighter.
Yeah, they start with the
If you
fighting
take
style.
The unarmed, the fighting style.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And it's a D8 if you
Yeah.
use both hands to punch, which is even lamer. So that's like a level 11 monk's fucking punch die.
Yeah. Well, we'll talk about monk next time.
Yeah, that's a future episode. So flex, versatile property. When you hit with a melee attack using this weapon, you deal its versatile damage even if you're wielding it in one hand. So longsword will do a D10 if you're a flex user, which sounds good.
Literally like the only fucking flex weapon that's on here.
Nah, there's like battle axes too. Oh, battle axes
Spear's
get
a flex
topple.
weapon.
Oh, that's true. Okay.
Quarterstaff.
Yep.
Quarterstaff.
So that sounds cool in theory. Like, oh my god, my sword's a D10, but that's like 1 point more of damage. Like cleave is so
But
obviously
then
better.
you get a sword and board fighter with a D10.
Yeah, but the
That's really
fucking
only
great axe dude is getting an extra like fucking 6.5 damage per round. Fighters get
If-
plus
if-
one.
if
The
they're
great axe dude has 2
yeah.
less AC, plus later in the game get a magical shield. One's sacrificing damage for tankiness, and one's.
I'm just saying.
And cleave is situational because like sometimes you're not fighting a grouped up enemy. Sometimes you're fighting like one guy or something.
Yeah.
Or they're spread out. You know.
I'm just pointing out the difference in power between these two properties.
I'm
it
just
prioritizes
worried,
different
And we
aspects.
haven't gotten the short sword yet, so maybe this is solved already. I'm
Can
just
you-
worried that
Hold up. Can you great weapon smack with the cleave? Like the -5 plus
I mean-
10?
I don't know. I'm not sure if that feat's even going to be in.
yeah, because that feat hasn't even been
If
played
there's
just yet. So
if there's a feat that adds damage, right? Then surely that damage would apply to the cleave attack. Or like
the damage would be considered a modifier.
it's not a modifier. It's talking about the ability
no,
modifier,
it says ability modifiers.
which is specifically the strength mod.
I mean, they might just word future feats to specifically say like, as like this doesn't apply to like free attacks or I don't know. I have a
Maybe.
feeling they're not gonna put that ability in.
There's
in the one.
Also, the paladin gets like at level 11 or something, like extra D8 on hit. And also, can they smite? I think there's more
mean-
juice to this cleave. than-
Isn't there a text on smiting where you can't do it more than once per turn?
Yeah, that is
Yeah,
true.
but it also says the weapons damage, and that's my damage. So I would say that the proof is in the pudding that you probably cannot.
Yeah.
Well, no. It's the on hit is describing how much damage that attack does, but it's still an attack. So in theory, you could smite again with that hit.
I know, but I'm just saying. Yeah,
Yeah.
maybe, possibly.
I didn't think you could get 2 smites for the price of 1.
Yeah.
That would be silly.
That would be a little silly.
It's the graze property, which looks cool. If you're,
Wait, can we talk about flex for one more second?
yeah, okay.
Because it always bothered me that like there's no reason to take a short sword with a shield, that you just
Mhm.
always pick the long sword because it's better, and this just sort of like exasperates that even more.
Yeah,
Even though in like real life, normally like you would use a short sword with a shield, because I mean, long sword in D&D is not the long sword in real life, but it's basically a 1.5 sword. But
Yeah,
it's
like
like
a bastard
using
sword.
that in one hand with a shield for like a whole battle, like that gets heavy. And,
Yeah.
like, unless you're really strong, that's really hard. Normally they would use short swords, so
Luckily,
That doesn't
every
really bother
D&D character has maxed out stats. So
I
it's
mean,
whatever.
fair enough, yeah.
Every one of them is a god among men. They're the specialist people in the entire universe.
I would argue that once we get to Vex, it will kind of sort itself out. Vex is a actually very good property.
Excellent.
Okay.
So grades.
So,
Yeah.
Prerequisites: melee weapon, heavy property. If your attack roll with this weapon misses a creature, you can deal damage to that creature equal to your ability modifier used to make the attack. This damage is the same type dealt by the weapon, and the damage can't be increased in any way other than increasing the ability modifier. So
Okay,
that's the
that's
no
really good.
smite text right there.
Yeah, that's the fuck off paladin trying to smite off of.
But
great-
like,
Yeah.
and that's not limited to once per turn. So it's just every time you miss, you're still getting chip damage, and that's
Yeah.
like really cool.
It is
Yeah.
good. I like it.
well, all these, I mean, like they're cool. Don't get me wrong, but all these are basically these weapon feats that they put in that were UA'd a really long time ago.
Oh, you're talking about like Crusher and shit.
Graves was never.
Yeah, they're basically like crushers.
Yeah, but those are
Graze-
fucking feats that you
Yeah,
have
I know,
to
I
give
know,
up
I
an
know, I
ability
know.
score improvement for.
Yeah, I'm
And
just saying.
was Graze in there?
Yeah, it was.
What had Graze?
No, there was
This is
something
new.
that was. No, there was definitely something that was like one of them
I-
was that you missed. It was.
I don't remember that at all.
I think it might be Crush or something.
There's
It was
one where if you missed, you could like turn your reaction. You can use your reaction to make it hit. But like,
No, I thought there was one. No. You roll two attack rolls.
Advantage. Yeah, you have advantage if the lower of the two would still hit. If the one that missed. I'm trying to think how to word this in my brain, but whatever. The one that like, if you miss, but then the higher one, if you have disadvantage, would have hit, then you still did ability mod damage.
It was very situational.
But yes, this is better than that by a long shot.
It's a good one.
Which one was that? Was that
I like Graze.
I think it was like the Great Axe one or something like that, slasher. I don't remember.
That being said, Graze also only comes with a great sword and a glaive.
Yeah, that's true. Okay. But if you're a fighter, you can put it on a bunch of other stuff.
Score deals slashing damage, crit grizzly.
That's true.
Tactic deals. Okay, I just read all three of those, and I'm not seeing that.
There was one.
The only downside of Graze is that it only comes into play when you're missing.
Yeah, but I mean, you're gonna miss.
I mean, but if say you're a fighter, you're bound to be missing. Yeah,
you're making 3 attacks per turn. Yeah,
that's true.
And especially like, imagine if you're fighting like a dragon as like a fighter or something that has like ungodly AC.
Oh
and
yeah,
then it's just like you're getting value no matter what. As long as you can just keep on making attack rolls against
15 damage turn.
Yeah, there's no such thing as like wasting a turn and getting nothing done. Like you're
or like a wizard who like casts
just keeps casting shield.
Yeah.
Or like a dragon that already has high AC and also casting shield every turn. Or something.
That'd be crazy.
Yeah. No DM would ever do that to their players.
All right. There's the Nick property. When you make the extra attack of the white property, you can make it as part of the attack action instead of as a bonus action. You can still only make this extra attack once per turn. My brain's melting. Okay, what weapons have that?
This is like an alternate, because in another UA earlier, they introduced like a new 2-weapon fighting rule where it didn't use your bonus action.
Yeah.
So I guess they like went back on that, and now they're lumping it into this.
The scimitar.
It's definitely a buff for the dagger, because now you don't have to use your scimitar and dagger.
Action, yeah.
So now you can attack.
They made sure to put it on the scimitar so that the monk cannot access it, which is good.
Yes, of course.
So now you can just be a dual-wielding like dagger-throwing ninja.
The sickle also has it, which is kind of cool.
That's a good one.
Why is the sickle in this game? I never understood why they put that in there.
So that farmers can fucking tear ass.
Yeah, fair enough. I guess that is a pretty it's like a commoner weapon.
Dude, you can hammer and sickle people. They both have Nick.
Oh.
You can bring.
Yeah, I can be the
communism to your enemies.
I can be Captain Russia.
Dude, I just like the idea of making a guy whose name is Nick and he like only uses Nick weapons.
That sounds booty to me.
Oh, it'd be terrible.
It'd be fun for like a one shot, but
you do a rogue, a 2-weapon fighting rogue, and then that way it frees up your bonus action to like do your other class features.
Yeah. It's nice. 2 scimitar rogue.
Oh, how awesome would that have been on Ronin?
Yeah, because you kept having to use your bonus action to steady aim, so being able to steady aim and then still get like 2 attacks would be really nice.
Yeah, I like it.
Or being able to just have 2 attacks.
Assuming steady aim like stays in the game, I don't know. They haven't mentioned the optional Tashas.
It's kind of shoddy.
Yeah, it's a little goofy, but.
Are we good on Nick there? I think.
Yeah, well, I'm just trying to think of the implications. Like,
you can be a 2-weapon fighting barbarian and still get to rage your first turn and get 2 attacks off. I don't think that's great.
I don't think that's good, but it's an option.
There.
No, that is
There's
good.
weapons like littering. Let's say that you're a barbarian who just killed somebody who has a fucking dagger, and now the dagger's on the ground, and you're like, oh shit. I have like my one fucking whatever weapon, and I can grab the dagger, rage, and then whack whack.
Okay, but if a barbarian's not dual-wielding, why would they be carrying a light weapon as their own?
I don't know.
No, it would be the scimitar barbarian.
Yeah, the scimitar barbarian. The Chad scimitar barbarian.
Yeah, that'd be cool. Yeah, I think freeing up the bonus action is very powerful, and it being on specific weapons makes those weapons appealing.
Mm-hmm.
And it would also I guess. For a monk, it's really good too.
Yeah, well.
Oh yeah, because monks use.
If the monk gets access to the feature where they can swap out the thing, then yeah. But is there
I'm not going to be able to swap that.
No, that's a fighter only thing.
Yeah, it's a fighter only thing.
Well, I guess I could use sickles, and then like at level 5, that'd be the same as scimitar, right?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, so the monk could make use of it.
I mean, we don't know what else could be in monk. They might get rid of the whole like
flurry of blows thing.
Keep in mind, a sickle is not a finesse weapon, so you're using.
Yeah, but it's a monk weapon, and the monks can use.
Oh, they
monk
get to use their own
finesse.
thing. Yeah.
Yeah, you're right.
That'd be how they do it.
I could see Kinsei monk getting like a fighter like thing where they can swap things around. But I think they're gonna try to leave that as a fighter specific, so the fighter can have their thing.
Well, yeah, it's the 2E thing the fighter had. They were the ones who mastered a weapon, so makes sense.
I studied the blade.
Yeah, Nick sounds like a very powerful thing. Vex will have to be really fucking powerful to be even like in the same ballpark.
Vex is pretty fucking good, but
well, let's do push first.
Yep.
Yeah.
So push, heavy, two-handed, or versatile property. So is that like a Oxford comma? Like it's the heavy or the two-handed or the versatile?
Yes, it's Oxford comma.
It looks like Oxford comma. Yeah.
You hit a
Otherwise
weapon.
they put a semicolon after heavy, right?
Mm-hmm.
It would also say heavy, two-handed, and versatile.
Oh, there wouldn't be a comma after. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. If you hit a weapon,
it would say and instead of or.
If you hit a creature with this weapon, you can push the creature up to 10 feet away if it is no more than one size larger than you.
Okay, so that's
Reasonable
part
trade.
of the like what is it, the crusher feat or whatever?
Yeah.
One of them.
So heavy, two-handed, or so it's push, right?
Yeah, that's pretty good.
Crossbow has push.
Heavy crossbow has push. What the?
Oh hell yeah!
That's
No,
fun.
it doesn't. That's crazy.
Yes.
Scroll up.
The great club has it.
What?
That's awesome, actually.
Great club
What the
makes sense.
fuck? Hold up. Can you scroll back
the
to that
pike?
fucking property? The pike has it? It kind of makes sense. The pike has it.
Okay.
So heavy reach, yeah, it does have push. Alright, scroll down. I need to reread this text. Is it once per turn or is it just over and over?
Once per
Over and
turn.
over.
It's over and over. So if you have a fucking crossbow expert, a heavy crossbow dude,
Okay,
fighter.
But I'd like to point out that crossbow expert has not been put in this playtest
not
yet.
been put in.
So we don't know if that's even going to make the cut. And I'm pretty sure it says to like. Do they say to assume that?
I do believe it in some point in the
okay.
past. It said like, don't fucking complain if something that's in like one of the books already like breaks one of
You
these
do
things.
so, you're welcome to
Okay.
combine this article with the other articles in the series, starting with character origins. If you do combine this article, with blah blah blah, and this to play this tutorial, you may either incorporate it into your campaign or run more.
I see what you're
It
saying,
doesn't say here, but
but let me push this forward. It said earlier in this playtest that there exists people who can swap properties as long as they have the prerequisite. I'm pretty sure the longbow is heavy, two-handed, probably not versatile, but it fits two of those. So it could be a longbow fighter, 3 attacks per round. You push a
heavy and
motherfucker
two-handed.
30 feet away with your normal attacks.
That's really fucking fun, and I'm actually very fun. Like
You could do it to an
fighter
ogre.
being able to- yeah,
That's
dude,
retarded.
He's shooting tree trunks.
I'm a big fan.
I'm
of
just
that,
I'm
actually.
having a hard time wrapping my head around the visual of hitting someone with an arrow, and they just get flown back 10 feet. Like,
It's so
Well,
anime.
see, the heavy crossbow, like fucking like fantasy up your heavy crossbow and have it just be giant, like a big
Yeah.
fucking mini
Look,
ballista.
it could be-
Yeah, and just launch.
It could be done in Kingdom. In the Kingdom anime, there was shit like that.
It's just fucking. It's Monster
very
Hunter.
anime.
It's Monster
very
Hunter.
like anime, like Japanese video game. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, imagine Monster Hunter, the bow gun. And, like that's what I'm
It's like the
imagining.
big
it
fucking
is.
thing, and you just
It's
pop
very
somebody with
silly.
it and they fly back 10 feet.
I'm just
That is-
saying it's silly.
It's very goofy that you can put a fucking longbow and just.
I-
Well, the funny part is that like only barbarians and like fighters so far get to do this stuff. So
Yeah.
with your hands of like a normal dumbass, doesn't happen. But the second the fighter gets their hand on,
That's
oh,
true.
longbow.
Okay, here's the
It's
thing.
bigger.
I'm pushing
It's heavier.
forward my thoughts about the balance here. So that's going to be aids, but I mean D&D's not a 1v1 game, so I don't think it necessarily matters too much.
yeah.
I'm
One
just glad
concern
they
I
put-
have is that it seems like it might make the force movement builds even more powerful, and force movement is like the meta and like those turbo autism like optimizing communities. I'm not a fan of the force movement builds.
I'm just glad they specify no more than one size larger than you, because agonizing blast and like sentinel and
everything should specify that, because it's silly.
There was a lot of things that don't specify it, and you can just like poke a dragon in the toe and their wings stop working for a turn, and it's like, well, that doesn't make any sense. So I'm glad they put that there. It's less cancer.
That's good.
No, what's really funny is that if you're like a gnome with it, then
it nerfs the gnomes.
You get fucked idiot. Yeah.
Fuck halflings. Fuck gnomes. Fuck goblins as well. To a lesser degree.
Wait, why does that nerf them? Just because they have
they're small.
Speed?
No, because they're small, and then they can only push medium creatures away.
Yep. Can't do
it's
it to
like
ogres.
The Dimension Door meme.
Yeah.
Where it lets you bring a creature your size or smaller, so if you're a gnome casting it, you just can't bring your party members with you.
Gnomes must suffer.
Yeah.
That's what you get for being short. Sorry.
Yep.
All right. Sap. That seems even more powerful than anything else so far. If you hit a creature with this weapon, that creature has disadvantage on its next attack roll before the start of your next turn. That's vicious mockery. No save.
I hate this so much because it just causes so much more, like, the DM has to remember what creatures have this effect on it for one turn. Like, it just adds more bookkeeping.
Yeah, but
it's the Mace and the Morningstar have it.
So it's just the Morningstar.
Yeah, I guess.
Oh, actually, hold up. Maybe a monk with a mace.
Flail has it.
Mace monk.
Notice it.
Not slow. My bad.
Oh, prerequisite is no other properties. So, like, what could the fighter even swap it with? Like, nothing?
Well,
anything.
I haven't even gotten to that.
No. Like, the prerequisite is that it doesn't have any
because
properties.
all these weapons that have it don't have any properties.
Oh,
Yeah.
So Flail, Morningstar, Mace. Yeah, so you wouldn't be able to switch it with anything else. So it would only
correct.
be those.
Yeah, I guess because they're kind of like crushing, disorienting weapons is what they're going for there.
Yeah,
that makes
so you
sense.
get smacked with it,
Which
and you're like, oh.
actually makes sense for what these weapons were used for, which was bashing people's fucking head.
I
makes
like
sense.
that there are like more niche ones that you can't do anything else with.
It seems
like,
really powerful.
Yeah, but then you're also using like a weaker weapon.
Yeah, but okay, here's the thing. So you have a choice. You could use the longsword and do a d10 damage, or you could use the Morningstar and do 1 less damage on average, but get vicious mockery on your attacks. On all your attacks.
It's only for one attack, to be fair. So like, anything with multi-attack, it's just
you could hit multiple creatures.
The longsword has flex, so you'd be giving up more than 1 damage on average.
Yeah, you'd be giving up 1 damage.
And
but a 1d10 it's a d8, I guess.
Yeah. Up to 2 damage,
I don't know.
if that makes you feel better.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean,
I think that
I don't think it's that crazy. I don't
really
like it just because it adds bookkeeping that as a DM I would never fucking remember that.
I would also say that like you could also add a lot of other like as a fighter, like you could have the flex and the longsword, but you could also have a D8 longsword that pushes people around.
Mm-hmm.
You could also have a D8 longsword with topple when we get to that. So
I feel like sap would be good on like barbarians because you reckless attack, but then their next attack just gets countered and it doesn't get advantage because it's disadvantage. I think that could be fun build.
I would say that the push build might, in theory, have more potential for power, but free vicious mockery is just very powerful. Like, for the rest of the game, every creature's gonna, or every like one-on-one encounter, the creature's gonna be swinging at you with disadvantage once per turn. That's it's like +5 AC against 1 attack.
Yeah,
so
it makes me think of like how people fought with flails though.
Yeah, no, it's evocative. I just think there maybe should be like a condition.
I'd rather flails have some sort of like ignoring shield AC or ignoring cover AC.
That would also work.
But that's too crunchy for 5e. They won't do that.
Well,
they need to be more simpler than that.
They're adding crunch with these like mastery properties. So
A little bit, but like saying disadvantage once is a lot less crunch than like if they're wearing a shield, ignore the +2 AC for this attack. Like having to alter AC values in the middle of combat is.
Well, it's just +2 to hit. Unless they've got a magic shield. But not many enemies have magic shields.
Well, yeah, I guess you could word it as if they're wielding a shield, you get +2 to hit on this. That would be one way to do it.
Yep.
But that's also like.
But yeah, that doesn't help against magic, or it helps less against magic shields, but whatever.
And then someone's gonna be like, "Oh, they used the shield spell. Does that mean I got +2?" All right, let's see. I think it's powerful. I think this is at least A tier. That's all I'm saying.
I think it's powerful, but it's also only on 3 weapons that you're.
And you can't
You can't swap.
You're sacrificing like 2 damage per attack.
I'm just picturing the 20 AC fighter sword and board, and now I've got disadvantage to hit him once. If I'm like an ogre, I've got 1 attack. Feels bad, man.
Yeah, get fucked over.
It sort of incentivizes you to spread out your damage, because if you can hit multiple people, then you're you're spreading the disadvantage around as opposed to like wasting it. But
it's a tactical
normally
decision.
spreading damage is like bad, so
True.
It sort of forces a weird playstyle. I think it's cool.
I think it's cool. It's good. Just think it's very powerful. Probably. Like later in the game, you're going to be fighting more than 1 enemy at once, so it's not like the most crazy, but it's definitely. If I had a PC with it,
I feel like NPCs tend to get multi-attack. Like I feel like a lot of them have multi-attack. Like once you get past CR like 1.
That's true. And they could probably play around a bit by using like a claw before the bite.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's see. That maybe it's not OP. I'll concede a little bit there.
I don't think any of these are necessarily OP. I think it's mostly just it adds. It adds much needed. It adds much needed power to a martial class that does fall off later in the game.
Choice making, which is the thing the marshals don't have.
Well, they're not gonna be making.
Right now, the choices are okay. Do you use a shield? All right, you use a longsword or a longsword equivalent. Do you not use a shield? All right, great sword or great axe.
Yeah, that's fair.
I just read ahead and read slow, and I don't like it.
Yeah, well, let's read slow. Slow, prerequisites none. No prerequisites. If you hit a creature with this weapon and deal damage to the creature, you can reduce its speed by 10 feet until starting your next turn. If you hit a creature more than once with this property, it doesn't exceed 10 feet. Based. That's okay.
Notice it doesn't say a creature one size or larger than you or smaller.
That's
so
true.
You can whip a dragon's foot, and then their wings get tired.
Yeah, they go, move slow.
Yeah, they go, and then they're slow. Like that.
Yeah, that's autism.
It really needs that sentence. It needs that this can affect a creature more than one size larger than you.
I think they felt pity for it because it's so weak.
But then why would their movement speed be slow? Their walk speed be slow?
I don't know, Sean. Shut the fuck up.
They have multiple speeds. Also, I don't know. I just can't imagine someone hitting a dragon with a whip and it makes them slow.
Yeah.
I don't know.
No, I agree that it's wacky.
Even worse, a sling. You throw a fucking pebble at a dragon and it can't fly as fast.
Yeah, you deal 1 damage.
No, slings are not 1d4.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I'm saying you can roll a 1.
You can fuck someone up with the sling. These things actually kill motherfuckers.
You add your strength, but
I think slow is going to be not used.
That's going to be. You don't think so?
I don't think it's gonna be.
Only in the turbo autism force movement builds.
Yeah, maybe.
Well, but think about this: you put it on a weapon with reach, and then you just poke them, and then you move away, and now they only got
25 feet. Yeah, and then you just sit there and then wait for him to go stop, and you're within your range, and you whack him again.
Yeah, I mean that is a thing you could do in theory.
But you're not gonna it's not like you're fucking fighting people on a Minecraft super flat world.
True.
So
here's my thing. Most of the time, how combat works is everyone gets stuck in and they basically don't move until their enemies are dead or they're trying to run away. This does help prevent them from running away. But also PCs are usually faster than everyone else anyways. Yeah, et cetera, et cetera.
Wait, what do you mean PCs are normally faster than? I've never experienced that.
They have, like, Misty Step and shit like that. Which enemies don't usually have.
You never played against Sean's campaign.
I don't know. Like, I know like barbarians get like 40 feet and like monks can get a lot, but like other than those two, like Misty Step's very like that's a second level spell slot. You're not Misty Stepping that often.
To prevent some from retreating? Maybe. There's effects that speed up PCs. At that point,
you could save the spell slot and then just use the slow weapon instead. Like the fighter could take on that role instead of the spellcaster.
It's true.
They can. I don't know. I think it's pretty good.
Yeah, but okay. I just don't think it's going to come up that much. Like, if we compare it to the cleave perk ability, where it's like every turn you're getting like one extra swing to do like a d12 damage, right? That's going to come up, because most of the time you're fighting more than one enemy, I would say. Probably. Or the sap is also good. The speed reduction thing seems less useful, except maybe against dragons, since it has no, like, size limit.
Yeah, I guess. But, I don't know. It's good too. It prevents... Yeah, I guess it's more situational. It won't come up as often, you're right.
I'm thinking of, like, the Darrow fight that we had in, like, 2 sessions ago, where the Darrow who ran away, like, they ran away because they were, like, not in the thick of combat, and so there's no one, like, near them. The slow property wouldn't have stopped them from running away. And all the other Darrows who couldn't run away, it's because they were fucking instantly killed.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't think it would have come up once in that fight.
Oh no, I'm just thinking of like parties that have a ranged character, and then you can strategically like try to hit the guys that are gonna run after them, so that it takes them longer to. Like,
I would say this would be very good.
It will come up less often.
This would be very good on an archer build.
Yeah, well, that's lame.
Yeah, the fact that longbows have slow is like really. I don't know. Range weapons having any of these is kind of nuts.
Yeah. You know,
I almost feel like range weapons just shouldn't have the masteries.
I will say, anything that makes drawing aggro more effective is also good. So that is one advantage of slow. It's like very budget sentinel, kind of.
Mm-hmm.
Which is good. The longbow has this by default. Is that true?
Yes.
Yes.
That's
longbow and musket, and then whip, and sling.
That's dumb.
And light crossbow, and that's and then club.
Bro, fucking range is already the best.
Yeah, I don't know. I kind of feel like range weapons just shouldn't get masteries.
I mean, that being said,
True.
It's not as strong as sap or push or.
Yeah, but imagine trying to fight someone with a longbow. They're walking backwards because they're outdoors. Mm-hmm. Never catch them.
I don't know. Longbow should have a fucking penalty to shooting things within like 60 feet of you or something.
Maybe.
But that's a whole other thing.
Whole other discussion.
But then it makes them so bad.
Well, yeah, you're not supposed to bring longbows into a dungeon. That's just stupid. That's what shortbows are for.
True. Alright, topple property. Heavy, reach, or versatile. If you hit a creature with this weapon, you can force the creature to make a Constitution saving throw with a DC equal to 8 plus your PB plus ability modifier from the attack roll, so strength, let's say. On a failed save, the creature falls prone. No size limitation.
Yep.
You know what that means?
No size limitation, no.
Dragon's flying around, and then the fucking fighter shoots it in the tail with his longbow, and it falls to the ground.
What made them think that push needed to be one size larger, but topple?
Yeah, what's the deal with that?
You can't push a dragon 10 feet, but you can flip it on its fucking back.
Yep. That's dumb. Dragons should be immune to prone if they're flying. Prone shouldn't cause them to fall down. This is going to be in the game. That's silliness. Because not only do they fall, they then take fall damage, and then they're prone on the ground too, so they have to waste movement to get up. The only dragons who could ever get away are going to be fucking burrow dragons. It's lame.
Time of the Bro Dragon has come.
Yeah, white dragon buff. Here we go. Let's go. Yeah, that's a little wacky. I mean, it is a con save. Con is like the best monster save, so.
Yep.
You know, that's.
Yeah.
I don't know. It feels
But
like
fighters shoot so much. They
Shouldn't
shoot
that
so
be
many times.
Should topple be con or strength? That almost
Both.
feels like a strength thing to me, right?
Both make sense.
Yeah.
I guess. When I think of con, I think of like poison and disease and.
Yeah, but Thunderwave, it's con too.
Yeah, I think in D&D it's also just very much.
Constitution is like general resilience.
It's like your composure, yeah.
It's also like resilience.
You're correct that strength is usually what is used for the prone checks, not con. But it is whatever.
Well,
Yeah, those are my thoughts. Like, it'll come up. If it ever happens, then there's that little asterisk where the monster might go right after you, and thus making the feature like completely useless.
What innately gets toppled? Trident, Maul, Lance. Lance makes a lot of sense.
I mean, that's
Why does Trident get toppled?
I don't know.
You can't
because
go
of the
prone
gladiator
underwater.
thing. You'd stab people's fucking feet.
Okay.
There's a lot more mermen.
The whole thing that they're going
using
for is that the fucking.
Trident.
Also, imagine someone chucking a trident at you. Like it's got three
Knock you on your
prongs.
ass,
That's 3 times more prongs than a spear. That's gonna knock you on your ass. Yeah.
True.
But I mean, I think it's cool. The only problem I have is the fucking size limitation not being in there.
Yeah.
They need to put that in there.
Yeah.
Other than that, it's fine.
I mean, it sounds really useful. Don't get me wrong.
It sounds pretty good.
Like, you're fighting ogres, they fail their save, they go down, your other fighter fucking beats their ass. Like, that's kind of like really budget pack tactics, which is why they added a save.
And yeah, it just has the problem that every con save has, which is that most things you fight are good at this.
Decent to good. Now, I think the only thing that my like main concern would be is the dragon thing. The giant creatures falling prone. I think that's kind of dumb.
Stupid.
It might be better than Sap. No, 100% sure. Because it's okay, like, the thing that makes Monk's Stunning Strike, like, dog shit is it's based on Wisdom, and it hits Constitution, but this synergizes with your attacking stat, so you're going to have, like, a DC 15, which is going to come up, like, sometimes. Eventually, DC 15.
Yeah, like a 5th level character.
Yeah, something
probably
like
gonna
that.
have DC 15.
So, like, Ogre probably falls more often than not, so you're going to semi-reliably cause people to fall prone, have advantaged hit unless the initiative doesn't shake out. It's very, very powerful. Probably one of the better ones. And it has that edge case where it just, like, completely makes all flying creatures just die.
Yeah.
Yeah. Woohoo!
Except for the Beholder, who's immune to prone, I think.
Anything that has hover,
Yeah.
if they get knocked prone, they don't fall.
So Vex, prerequisite, ammunition, finesse, or light property. If you hit a creature with this weapon and deal damage to the creature, you have advantage on your next attack roll against that creature before the end of your next turn. Is that the end of the text? You scroll up, is there a limit on how many times this happens? No, it's just as many times as you want.
On your next attack roll.
Yeah, but then
Before
that
the
one hits.
Oh, before the end? Okay. So if you have 2 attacks, your second one has advantage. If you have 3 attacks, your second one gets advantage, and the first one at the beginning of your next turn has advantage.
Yeah. So you just start...
It's another weird bookkeeping thing that I don't like.
Yeah.
Because you have to keep track of it between turns.
Well, yeah, but that's on the players to bookkeep, not the DM.
Fair enough.
That sounds really, really powerful.
That sounds pretty cool. And so this gives you a reason to run a short sword and shield, and not a long sword and shield.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because it's on what?
The short sword.
Rapier, short sword. I guess that's.
Yeah, you're just gonna be swinging with advantage.
Now I just wanna. Now I kind of want to just play like a finesse fighter with a shield.
Dex is even better.
But it's on the rapier, which is just better than the short sword. So we
That's
still
true.
have the problem of the short sword.
Well, the monks don't get the rapier. It's for the monk, okay?
Well, here's the thing: is that you could that too. But you
could just make the monk worse.
You could still do short sword and like dagger because like light,
or just 2 short swords.
Yeah, or short sword and a scimitar. Then you wouldn't get it. Yeah.
Oh, and then you short sword hit, get advantage with the scimitar.
Yeah.
And what does Nick do again? You make it as part of the... When you make an extra attack of the light property, you make it as part of the...
Yeah. So you got a multi-attack, you have a short sword and a scimitar.
Dude, dual wielding with 2 different mastery abilities is going to get confusing.
It will be.
It's getting to be a lot of keep up with.
Yeah.
Because then it's like... Oh my god, you hit with the short sword, you get advantage on the scimitar attack, you hit with the scimitar, then you make an additional attack as part of which that one would also be the scimitar.
It could be either. You'd probably use the short sword again, so that your next short sword attack has
again, and then your next... Jesus, okay.
Yeah. Now, obviously, this is big subject to missing, right? You could miss your attacks and you don't get Vex.
Yeah. In which case you would
or the enemy dies.
Short sword again, probably.
Yeah. If the enemy dies, you also like no longer get the benefit of Vex. But I could see situations where like you're attacking most of the time with advantage, maybe, or at least half the time. That is what I would say. An advantage on half your attacks. That's like half of pack tactics, except you know,
that's like half of reckless attack without the negative.
With no penalties. That's very good. It's a good feature.
Oh, whoa.
Yeah?
What's up?
Prerequisite ammunition, a longbow build with Vex.
Yeah. Well, they're using Topple. They're not using Vex.
I don't know.
I think the consensus here is that ranged weapons are just better, and so putting any of these on a ranged weapon is going to be OP, because it's the same as a melee, except you don't have the negatives of melee, and having to be in melee range.
You don't have to be there.
And that's just always been a problem with this system, and I wish they would do something about it.
Yeah. Makes sense to me.
Yeah. Do you want to go over nets and priest pack? I don't think it's really worth it.
Well, we are going to go over net. I don't think the priest pack is worth it. Yeah, Vex seems really good. I think it's probably better than Sap.
Yeah, it might be.
Probably. I'd say it's one of the top tier ones. Alright, so net, when you take the attack action on your turn, you can replace one of the attacks with the throw of the net at a creature within 15 feet of you. The target must succeed on a dexterity saving throw equal to 8 plus PB plus dex modifier. It succeeds automatically if it's huge or larger. On a failed save, the target has the restrained condition until it escapes the net. It can bust out of the net using its action. A creature within 5 feet of the target can use its action to attempt the same thing. And maybe a creature can destroy the net as well from within, probably. It's got immunity to bludgeoning damage, but you could pierce the net.
Yeah.
That's pretty decent.
I feel like it's just better to destroy the net than like...
Yes.
Yeah, 100%.
If you can just fail the check, but it's like you're probably not going to miss an AC 10.
Correct. Well, if you're restrained, you have disadvantage, but at the same time, AC 10.
And like a lot of classes get multiple attacks, so...
Yeah, well, this is monsters. This is a monster thing.
Yeah.
Actually, you know what? If the goblins had nets, a bunch of nets, that'd be pretty good.
I mean, if you get like a wizard in a net, it's a little unfortunate, but also like Misty Step exists, so you know.
Yeah, that's lame. Look, the net costs 1 gold piece, okay? The goblin is forcing you to Misty Step by throwing a net on you. The goblin is 1.
I have 1 gold. Yeah, the guy. Fair enough. That's a good point.
Yeah. Net's good. I don't know how often.
Pretty similar to how it normally is, right?
Yeah, it's well. No. In the other one, you have to hit the target with an attack roll.
Oh, you have to make an attack roll.
Whereas this is a dex save, which is like better in some ways against most creatures. Probably. So yeah, the net soaks up an attack. Against the poor ogre, they have to use their action to tear the net too, because they have a club usually. Which feels bad for them.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like if I was a player and I was trying to like gain max the system, I just like want like a one-hit die hireling to have a net, and just their job is to throw the net and then get to safety. Because it just soaks up one enemy attack, they tear the net, you have to buy a new net later, right?
Yeah. But then you just give the guy like 10 nets. He's got a backpack full of nets.
Mm-hmm.
The net pack.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Dude, at that point, you're just like a human spider. You're just throwing nets on people.
Spider subclass. It's pretty good.
Is it counted as like a... Is it a thrown? It's not a weapon.
No, it invokes
It
a dex
replaces
save.
one of your attacks with a throw. So a fighter can throw multiple nets per turn.
Yeah. You could do that.
That's...
I mean, if you're doing a fighter thing, what you're probably doing is you throw the net with your first attack, and then you try to attack with advantage. And, you know, if the target fails its save, then you action surge, and you fucking poke a bunch of holes in them. And then you hope your DM doesn't say, oh, you tore up the net by slicing the creature into pieces. So that you can do it again.
That's when you use a rapier instead. You just poke them.
It's true.
Yeah, but then the fighters force you to use a rapier.
It's true.
I mean...
Yeah, if they're using a rapier, they already have advantage to hit. Because they have the Vex property.
Well, no, but they can also use a rapier with a different feature.
That's true. You can push them with the nets. Or topple them.
You push them in the net.
Throw the net so fucking hard that it just takes them 10 feet
fucking
away.
poke them and they're just rolling in a net.
Yeah.
Yeah, you net them, you then poke them with the rapier and push them into the spike growth of the spirit guardians, and now they're extra fucked. And then someone tries to knock them
both,
prone.
unless there's two clerics, because I'm pretty sure both of those are concentration spells, but nice try.
I didn't say both at once.
Two different people.
I said or.
I think you said and. I was like...
No. What you do is you set the cleric up casting that spell in the middle, and then the druid casts spike growth on top of him, and then he just doesn't move.
Yeah. It's true.
And then you make a very unfun zone for everybody.
It's the no fun zone.
The feats are just... I think it's
all epic boons.
It's epic
Well,
boons.
there's the one, right, that's a mastery thing.
Yeah, there's the one... Oh, I should probably splice
Weapon
that.
Master.
Or is it? I don't fucking
Yeah, we can talk about Weapon Master and then do the boons,
weapon.
not do the boons.
So it's weird on the page, Beth. You need to scroll down.
Uh-huh.
You see the text, Weapon Masters in the bottom left, and then the actual text. So, Weapon Master, ability, ability score increase, strength or dex +1, so it's a half feat. Now we scroll up to the second part of it. Mastery property. Your training with weapons allows you to use the mastery property of one kind of simple or martial weapon of your choice, provided you are proficient with it. Hold up, my brain's melting. Allows you to use the mastery property of one type of weapon. Whenever you finish a long rest, you can change the kind of weapon to be.
The last sentence is stupid and shouldn't be in there.
Yeah, probably.
Like, why? Like, oh, I'm a master of this weapon, and then I slept, and then I forgot how to be a master of that weapon, but I did just figure out how to be a master of another weapon.
Is this a fighter-only perk?
No.
Nope, prerequisite 4th level. Anyone can take it.
So, here's the thing. Put it this way. Imagine you're playing and you have a fucking rapier, and then you find a badass magical short sword.
Yeah. Okay.
Well, I mean, then get fucked, I guess.
Yeah, get fucked.
That's not fun. Like,
fair enough, but
I'm a master of all weapons on Earth.
Yeah, it's the narrative.
It's only one at a time, though. I understand. I understand why they did it, because it would feel real shit if you have to take another feat just to be. Yeah.
And then by the time that you get up to that one, you find another cool.
Let me say two things. Let me say two things. The first thing is really lame, but I'm gonna say it anyway. It breaks my immersion when one person who's like a warlock is just switching between what weapon they're a master at. Like, you're a master because you learned this at one point in your life. It doesn't make sense that you can swap it. But then the less lame thing I'm gonna say is it's the DM's job to like give you magic items that like fit your party and your characters. So if they're giving you a magic greatsword when you just took a feat in mastery of like Mauls or something, like that's just like they just shouldn't do that. And like that's just a
Less
shitty
true,
DM
but
thing.
still true.
Like if you pick mastery in something, the DM should like try to at one point or another like give you a cool version of that thing. Because obviously you're picking
or
mastery
weapon
in that
crafting.
because you want to fulfill, or weapon crafting or something like that. There should be a way to do it. But if you're picking weapon mastery in a specific weapon, it's because you want to fulfill the fantasy of using that weapon to do its special thing.
Yep.
Yeah.
And the DM should just work with you on that. So I think that last sentence is just kind of dumb.
I strong agree. I like the 2E way.
Whereas,
In 2E, you picked a weapon you were specialized in, and you could never change it. Never, ever. You were fucked. You were locked in. That's the way it should be.
I think immersion and like narrative consistency is important in a role play.
Should be like, here's what the text should say. You can spend 5 years changing this perk to another weapon, provided you have a trainer.
Okay, well, if you want to use the optional rules in the DMG for training to level up, that's fine. But
No, just for the 1 feat, it says, like...
just for 1 feat, yeah.
Sean,
spend
whereas I
5
agree
years
with
to
you,
change
I
it.
look at someone like Pink, for instance.
Yeah,
He just wants to use whatever gives the biggest number.
that's true. You should have picked better weapon.
Well, at that point, you play a fighter, and then you can just get mastery in like everything.
2 weapons, yeah.
Like if you want to be the guy that uses anything that's a big number, you play a fighter. But you don't take this feat as a fighter. You take this feat because you're
As
like a
everyone
bard or
else.
something.
Yeah.
Because a fighter doesn't need to take this feat.
No, it's useless.
Correct.
I think I haven't read the fighter yet, but I'm pretty sure that's how it works.
I have.
It's a good feat. I hate the flexibility. It's too dumb. Too immersion breaking. Alright, I'm putting another cut. I'm going to splice this in the fucking weapon episode.